Hi everybody, welcome back to another character drawing class with me, Aviva, your art director from the Asner Family Center. Today we are going to be working with Modge Podge. We've used it in plenty of other classes before, but today is going to be a class all about Modge Podge, showing you like how you can really use it in so many different ways. Mostly we're going to be using one way today, but I'll be talking a little bit more about different ways that you can incorporate it into other projects. Okay, so we're going to be needing a few materials for today's project. We're going to be making little trays that you can put whatever you like in. So this is just a nice, easy beginner like project that you can do if you have the materials, just like quick and easy little tray. We are going to be using cardboard today. Doesn't matter if it has writing on it because we will be Modge Podging on top of it. You are going to be needing paper towels and cut up paper towels or newspaper, tissue paper. Tissue paper actually maybe not because it's a little bit thin. You might need to do a little bit more of layering if you do use something thinner. That's why I'm using paper towels. That's why newspaper is also really great. So something along those lines. We are going to be using Modge Podge, which I've said in past videos that you don't really have to use Modge Podge. You can use cornstarch and water or glue and water. You just want to make sure it's always a 1-to-1 ratio, half water, half glue, half cornstarch, half water, 1-to-1. Okay? We're going to be needing tape. I suggest using something pretty sturdy like duct tape. I'm using this like awesome Gorilla Glue duct tape, nice and sturdy. It doesn't matter what color it is. Paint brushes, you're going to be needing some paint for painting your plate later on, and finally some scissors and a Sharpie. And then that should basically do it on our materials today. But let's jump into it and get started just on our beginning steps. And that means finding a nice base to work the rest of our project off of. And so our base today is going to be this piece of cardboard. So when you're trying to make Modge Podge, it's basically the act of layering a bunch of gluey papers over each other to make a nice hard shell. It's kind of the art of sculpture making. Even if we are making a plate today, this is definitely going to be a sculpture of some sort. What we are going to be doing is starting with a nice square-ish kind of piece. Unless you want to make a round tray, today we are just making a square tray. So what we're going to want to do is, with a tray, it usually has some edges that are folded up on the side. Because of course this is a tray as it is, but we want to give it a little bit of pizzazz, a little flair. So what we're going to be doing is taking a Sharpie and just making a smaller square on the inside of our cardboard here. All right, and it's okay if you make mistakes just like I did here because we are going to be covering it anyways. So you want to make sure that all of the edges are kind of like the same width apart. You can see that this edge is a little bit smaller, so I'm just going to widen that up. All right, and so now that I just threw my gap across the room, but now that we have our little inner square, what we're going to be doing is making a line from our corner to the corner of our cardboard, just like that. And this is going to be a guide to where we are going to be starting to make our cuts. So when you cut this won't be flush when you kind of fold it together. So we want to make sure that we're cutting out like a little triangle on the corner. And so you see how I connected it always back to our little corner there. So making a little triangle on the corners. This is going to be where we're going to be cutting out. Okay, so now that we've got our triangles ready to go and we've got kind of a guide, we can take our scissors and just cut those triangles out. Okay, Steve, this part can be sped through because I feel like it's going to be a long show if a lot of this isn't sped up. Alrighty, so now that we've got these corners cut out and we've got a shape something like this, kind of looks like a large plus sign, we are going to be bending our lines inward to make the walls of our tray. And so we're going to use our scoring cuts to kind of guide us. Alrighty, so I've made pretty deep cuts here, so it's going to be a little bit more boxy, but what you can do if you want a little bit more of like a shallow bowl, you cut a little bit less on the edges so that they kind of end up flush together, just like this. Alrighty, so what you're going to do to connect them is take some pieces of your duct tape and just kind of add them to the edges. So since I want mine to be a little bit more shallow than just having a box, you know, I'm going to leave some space. Okay, and this is just going to be just the beginning of kind of connecting our box together to make this tray. We're just leaving some space here. And I got this box really just out of our recycling bin, so definitely a great way to recycle and use some of these materials again. All right, so now that we got a nice tray-like box here, all you're going to be doing is starting to take your tape and cover the entire thing with tape. So you want to go across, you want to get all these edges, and you just want to start really, you want to make sure you don't have any folds in it. You want it to be as smooth as possible so you can start getting a nice base here. And also make sure that you're adding it to the sides more, and then also around the top to get a nice smooth finish there. No little rigid edges. So really just covering the whole thing with tape. Okay, so I'm gonna add more tape and then we'll come on back together. I have another one here that's a little bit more shallow and it is now covered in tape, and you can see it looks like a whole other plate now. You can see the cardboard is on the inside, nice and curved. And now we're ready to start actually adding our Modge Podge. So what you want to do is add some Modge Podge to a little cup, whether it be your cornstarch mixture, your glue mixture, or just your regular old Modge Podge. I have the matte version today. Doesn't really matter if it's glossy or matte. But the best way to Modge Podge is all about layering. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your paper towel piece or your newspaper piece and just dip it into Modge Podge. And if glue, the texture of glue is not your favorite kind of texture, that is totally fine. Go get a pair of gloves on and this project can still totally be for you. So I'm making sure that my full piece is covered in Modge Podge, and I'm just going to start layering it down onto my plate. Alrighty, and so as you can see, we used our our taped cardboard as our base, but you really don't have to only use cardboard. You can use, if you're trying to not make a tray and maybe like sculpt a character or an animal, whatever you'd like, you can totally use tin foil as well and just kind of mold it to the kind of vague shape that you want. If you're trying to mold like a nice ball-like shape, you can mold some tin foil together and then Modge Podge the outside of it. But I'm going to finish Modge Podging my plate. I'm going to make sure to do the sides, the bottom, even the little edges on the top here, just like before, like what we did with the glue. We really want to make sure we do this whole entire plate. And the best way to do it is making a layer, waiting, I'd say like 30 minutes, and then doing another layer just so you can make sure that all of the layers are really nice and secure and dried. All right, I'll see you in just a moment. Now my Modge Podge has been really sitting with all of its layers for a few hours now. And it does take a few hours for it to fully dry. And finally, so you don't have that paper towel look, which mine kind of does still right now, we are going to be adding paint. And we're going to be using acrylic paint as our seal today. Another way of sealing your Modge Podge is adding something called gesso, which is a white paint-like substance, which it is paint in a way, and it is a nice base for your painting. And that's what they use on canvases. After they stretch the canvas, they add the gesso on the top, just for a nice white base for our tray and for your paintings. So I've already added my gesso just so we can get started on the painting, and we are going to be making just a little nice decoration on the outside. I'm going to be adding one of my favorite fruits, I think, on my tray today, maybe some cherries. But you can really add anything you'd like. This is really the best part. This is like after you've made like your pottery and you're adding your just decorations on the outside, okay? So I'm going to paint this and you guys can just have a nice little painting montage, and maybe you can paint along with me. I've got my tray all painted, all cute and summery, and now we are all set. So now if you'd like, you can add a nice clear, like fixative spray on the top if you really want it to be nice and shiny. But I'm gonna keep it how it is. I really like the way that it looks. And now you can throw your keys into it. You could throw your jewelry. Anything you'd really like would really work in this tray. And you can use these methods that we used today on any other different types of Modge Podging types of crafts that you're interested in. But that is going to be about it today. I hope you had fun making your little tray with me. I'm definitely going to be putting this somewhere cute in my room. But I'll see you guys next time, okay? I've got such painty hands. I'm going to go wash my hands and get ready for next week, okay? I'll see you on Saturday for another crafting class. Send me your art, send me your crafting ideas, and I'll see you next time, okay? Bye, guys.